as Adolf Hitler and his murderous military swept through Europe on his conquest for total domination. A secret plan devised by Reinhard Heydrich, the chief of the security police, was set in motion to concentrate European Jews from the countryside into larger cities so that the goals for the final solution could be implemented. Certain areas were to become Judenrein, or free from Jews. The places of the concentration were called ghettos, an urban section of a city serving as a compulsory housing area for Jews. At the outbreak of World War II, thousands of Czech Jews were living in Prague, nicknamed the Golden City and the capital of Czechoslovakia. The active Jewish community was almost 20% of the city's population. Beautiful synagogues surrounded the historic Jewish cemetery in the Old Jewish Quarter. As forcibly deported Jews swelled the Prague ghetto, Hitler began moving confiscated Jewish property into Prague as a collection spot for a future museum holding the treasures that were stolen from the Jewish people. The crowded ghettos lacked the necessary food, water, space, and sanitary facilities required by so many people living within their constricted boundaries, and isolated them from the rest of society. In October 1941, the Nazis initiated a plan to deport Jews from the Prague ghetto to the former military fortress at Terezin, renamed Theresienstadt by the Nazis, northwest of Prague. There were two parts of Terezin, the main fortress and the small fortress. The concentration camp at Terezin looked like a mini village or ghetto. The small fortress, a star-shaped, thick-walled fortress, had long served as a fortified prison. The Nazis used it for political prisoners and others who never emerged from it again. Initially, Jews were being deported to concentration camps in Poland and Belorussia from Bohemia, Moravia, and Prague. Jewish leaders believed the concentration of the Czech Jews in the Terezin camp ghetto was preferable, since they would be housed on Czech soil. Life at Terezin seemed surreal. Families were filling up the small ghetto camp. Musicians and artists flourished. Composers worked on musical sonatas and playwrights developed dramas while at the camp. The city band of Terezin played almost daily for those fortunate to stay at the ghetto camp. The ghetto had earned the nickname Paradise Ghetto by those who were unaware of the real conditions behind the cruel facade. The in-house life at the camp was administered by Jewish elders, but the ghetto was really run by the Nazi SS as a transit camp for Jews en route to the extermination camp. As word leaked out that the death camps existed, the Nazis allowed the Danish Red Cross to tour the ghetto, which the Nazis had beautified and cleaned up prior to their arrival. Also, Hitler commissioned a propaganda movie to be made about life at the Terezin ghetto to counter accusations about the persecution of Jews. In a sinister way, the Nazis showcased Terezin as a model for the treatment of concentrated people to mask their real intention to accomplish the final solution. The small fortress was used as a Gestapo prison in June 1940, even before the main fortress was turned into a transient camp for the Jews, and remained active until the last day of the war. During that time, some 27,000 men and 5,000 women were sent to the small fortress, mostly anti-fascists and members of the resistance movement. Some Jews from the main fortress were sent across the street to the prison for violating camp rules or petty crimes in the camp. More than 2,500 prisoners died either of ill treatment or were executed at the small fortress, including Dr. Paul Epstein, one of the Jewish elders who administered the Terezin camp, for disobeying Nazi orders. There were over 148,000 Jews registered and imprisoned at Terezin. There were 88,000 Jews transported from Terezin to Auschwitz and other extermination camps where all but a few were murdered, including 15,000 Czech Jewish children. There were over 33,500 deaths recorded at Terezin, mostly from overcrowding, poor sanitation conditions, malnourishment, disease, and mistreatment.